I'm the ghost of Brian, and I'm in hell. It's a long story, and I don't remember most of it. The guys down here are bored, so to keep themselves entertained and to punish me, they make me watch terrible movies. Let me, permit me, allow me. Well, which is it? Fine, they make me. Sorted. Anyway, when I decided to do these video reviews, I didn't have to think too hard about what hell-spawn disaster of a movie I wanted to start with. Beyond the Door 3, A Muck Train. But that movie isn't streaming for free anywhere at the moment, and they are notoriously cheap down here. So instead, I'm doing another of my favorite movies, Howling 3, The Marsupials. Howling 3 is the 1987 sequel, in name only, to the Howling franchise, which, despite sharing a director with Howling 2, has absolutely nothing to do with the first two movies, and even less to do with the books by Gary Bradner that inspired this series. It also stars a bunch of Aussies you've probably never heard of. This movie exists for three reasons. 1. Werewolves had a bit of a heyday in the 80s. Teen Wolf, Werewolf in London, Silver Bullet, Wolf and Company, Wolves, Full Moon High. 2. The third movie in a franchise is usually a little crazy. And this animal existed. The thylacine, or Tasmanian wolf. Now, these critters aren't really wolves, but hey, let's not dive into biology just yet. So here's our werewolf marsupial movie. The movie starts us off down under.
Welcome to Ireland, it's way under, down under. The sky's always yellow in rain or shine. Down in Tasmania.
In Siberia, there's a critical subplot where our yet-to-be-seen marsupials have arranged for a Russian bride, mail order style I guess, from a separate pack? Anyway, as you'd expect, these Siberian wolves provide our first kill. Yeah, that's going in the clip bank. This subplot has the attention of the KGB, alerting the ever-watchful U.S. National Intelligence, who naturally turn to Professor Beckmeyer, the man in the high pants here, teaching a class of 20 or so students something about Australian Aborigines. Old Professor Becky then jets off to D.C. to visit the president in his sexatorium? There's a really weird moment right here. Yes, you are being recorded. This is a movie about werewolves, sort of. Anyway, notice when we cut back to the long view, there's no camera right there at the president's crotch. Yeah. Anywho, Becky convinces the president that he needs to go to Australia to figure out where these werewolves are. Guess where he ends up? Yep, gotta have the Harbour Bridge and Opera House. Surprised they didn't drop Ayers Rock in the background for the establishing shot trifecta. Cut from Opera House to... Seriously? Where we meet our other star, Jarboa. A Jarboa is, click, click, a hopping desert rodent found throughout northern Africa and Asia. Great. Fine. Jarboa doesn't like living wherever this is.
You must show him your respect. I hate him. I hate all of you. You must do as you're told.
For reasons.
Keep your filthy hands off me.
So she kicks her dad in the nards and checks out for the big city. She is somehow spotted sitting on a bench by this guy. Which goes well.
Don't be frightened. Don't touch me.
Look, I don't want to hurt you. I want to offer you a job.
Seems legit.
You're perfect for this. That's it. Come on. My name is Donnie Martin. What's yours?
Jaboa.
But Jerboa is not free and clear. Her family has dispatched a trio of marsupials to find her, and they're dressed as nuns. Blend right in. Jerboa and Donnie Mean-Who are filming Shapeshifters 8, which, as the title suggests, is a werewolf movie. That's right, this movie about were-marsupials in a series about werewolves has a were-marsupial in a movie about werewolves.
Come on.
It does, however, include my favorite character in this movie, channeling a very meta Orson Welles.
I think I can smell a talent here. Can you act like an animal?
Yes.
You'll be perfect, darling.
Donnie takes Jerboa to the movies. I don't know what kind of shapeshifter he is. Right here he looks like a werewolf, but eventually he looks like a were-rat. Donnie and Jerboa head back to his apartment. Wait. What is... No. Play that again. You... No, you did not, you bastards. The sex scene continues and we get this reveal.
What's wrong?
Are you a werewolf?
Yes.
I don't know. If I just met a girl who kept hinting she was a werewolf. Ugh. I need to look up what parts of a marsupial to black box. But Donnie isn't worried. Sweaty as a whore in church for some reason, but not worried. Note this scene here. You see Donnie and Jerboa leaving the set. This is the last day of shooting, as we find out later, and they pass the 3 nuns who were following her.
Well, isn't that convenient?
Either these nuns have been wandering around Sydney for a week, or Jerboa showed up on this movie set for the last day of shooting, and they somehow made her the star. Professor Becky has met Captain Fedora here, and they are, I don't know, researching the werewolf problem. It does bring us back to the Russian connection, however, because that Russian mail-order bride turns out to be, dun 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 dun, a defecting Russian ballerina. Yay.
Defections and now this.
Cut!
So the movie has wrapped, and it's time to partay.
Everything's cooler.
Do a fisheye lens!
But Jerboa starts to wolf out because of the flashing lights. Really? The flashing lights. And she begs Donnie to sex it out of her? Alright, hang on. Let me make sure I have the rules of the were marsupial down. Not wolves. I can live with that. Not wolves. Shapeshifters, marsupials, fine. But Jerboa says they don't change because of the moon. They don't look like the werewolf in the movie. And sex somehow stops it from it. Well, it doesn't stop it from happening because watch this part. She runs out of the party and whatever. Donnie manages to track Jerboa down, and she's been hit by a car. I gotta say, either he is really slow in tracking her down, or this police officers and ambulance arrived quick. I mean, they are on scene. In one of my favorite scenes, the 3 nuns show up at the rap party because they're tracking Jerboa. And this is what they look like. Of course he'd invite them in. They look like they're wearing costumes. I love it. Jerboa winds up in the hospital, and their crack medical staff determines that she's not human. Wait, is that Commandant Lassard? No, it's not. I had to check. I actually had to check to see if that was Commandant Lassard. And who do they call? Professor Becky, of course, because he's top of her contact list.
I'll come right over.
And Donnie, of course, is waiting in the hospital lobby, where he reveals his feelings for her.
I love her, you know.
Get some rest.
With the help of Professor Becky, the doctors are trying to figure out what's going on. You don't put your fingers in there. That's not normal.
There's massive hormonal activity going on there. I think she's pregnant.
Along with, along with the Army, the Marines, that guy.
I feel the texture. It was amazing.
The nuns arrive at the Shatner building, Spook Central from Ghostbusters, and wipe out everyone. So Professor Becky, Australian Bryan Cranston, and Christopher Walken from Pulp Fiction have cornered Sweaty Donnie and to let him know that Jerboa is missing. And she's pregnant. And he's probably the father.
Did she say where she came from?
A town called Flo.
We cut to our Russian bride, Olga, who is having dental issues because, of course, she's a were-thing. Her assistant, Captain Overactor here, is going to write her a prescription for nothing. She's marrying Jerboa's father, and she's very excited about it.
I don't see the attraction. Come on. They're waiting for rehearsal.
Cut to her being on stage, and she's taken to the same hospital room where Jerboa was. I guess they've cleaned up from the nun massacre, and she's tied down with what looks like 2 men's belts. I'm sure that'll hold her. And then, holy crap. It's just mayhem. The Professor Marianne head out to the town of Flo, Wolf, a town with 0 residents. Oh no, and he looks in the reflection in the window and it says Wolf. And then they meet this guy. Holy cow, this guy.
G'day.
Mr. Burnham here.
Shrimp on the barbie?
Christ, mate, you scared us. What was that?
Jesus Christ.
And here, the greatest scene in the movie takes place. Jerboa gives birth to what I can only describe as a mouse. Somehow Olga has arrived at Flo. I guess she walked. And she meets... Holy cow, look at that noggin. And they fall madly, madly in love. Aww. Donnie arrives in Flo, where Jerboa and he have this tearful reunion. Nope. I have a tiny babby. Don't touch the babby. Oh god. Oh god, it's horrible. It's horrible. It looks like a possum. Meanwhile, the army has arrived and they've found the Mad Max camp. Professor Becky decides to hypnotize Olga to find out what sort of new species she is. And then this happens? Everybody loves marsupials. The interview with Olga went so well that Professor Becky has decided to try it on with Jerboa's dad. This does not go well, and honestly, it starts to look like a techno video. The army has a solution.
We are of the opinion they should be wiped out completely. That is outrageous.
The President has given me the authority to take charge of this situation. You will report to me.
The professor doesn't like it.
We've got to hurry. We'll go down the fire stairs. My car is at the back of the building. I don't believe he should be murdered.
I hope you can hurt the others.
I'll try and do the best I can.
The movie turns headlong towards our conclusion with our 5 fugitives now on the run in the Aussie outback. On the one hand, the locals have gotten a posse together to track them down.
Hey, look. We've got 4 hours till sundown. I can track them.
On the other, the government has dispatched an Omega team, consisting entirely of these 2 gentlemen in sunglasses. Omega team. They look like a synth pop duo. So our local native, Burnham, sets off seeking divine intervention and wolfs out, making short work of our posse. However, he suffers a fatal injury and has the greatest set of final words in history.
You'll turn into a river, Kendi.
No way. I'm just gonna die.
Jerboa's dad sets off and seeks his own divine intervention. So now that all the baddies are dead, we can move on to the denouement. Our 2 couples just need one thing to bring this all together. Marianne, meanwhile, pleads with the president to stop the hunting of marsupial lycanthrope werewolves. And we even get a little jump forward to see Jerboa's baby boy is growing up just fine. So all's well that ends well. Wait, why isn't the movie over? Taking a cue from the Lord of the Rings, the marsupials can't leave well enough alone and give us 15 extra minutes of extra goodbyes and farewells. First, Jerboa and Donnie leave the sex cult compound and head off to make more movies. Marianne rejoins the professor and the professor's now 15-year-old daughter to reveal that the Vatican has intervened on the lycanthrope's behalf and everything is all right if they just want to rejoin society. At the same time, Donnie and Jerboa, now under assumed identities, are making movies in Hollywood. And finally, 23 years after the actual end of the movie, Dr. Becky is teaching college, and who should be in his class but Zach, Jerboa and Donnie's son. This leads us, finally, to the ultimate ending of the movie, in which Jerboa is nominated for an Academy Award.
There are so many people I'd like to thank.
I love this movie. It is one of my all-time favorites, so bad it's good movie. Simply put, it is a non-stop, rusty, fairground roller coaster of silly moments, funny scenes, and crazy special effects. Just a lurching, spinning fever dream. From the movie set, to the nuns, to the Mad Max town, to the birth scene, to the 3 different times they strap a marsupial to a table. There's just so much to love here. Yeah, the plot is both aimless and simple. The acting is not the best. The cinematography is pretty bland. And there is that 80s synth pop soundtrack. But the movie checks all my so bad it's good boxes. There are barely any dull moments. And time after time you're rewarded by these insane events out of nowhere. For all its faults, the movie is still trying to be a real movie. It isn't cynical or self-aware or paint by numbers. The horror elements aren't really scary, but they're fun. The comedy elements don't really work, but they're still funny. The movie avoids lots of horror cliches and tries to do something new. I don't know if it succeeds, but it tries. A love story with sympathetic werewolves. The movie within the movie about werewolves. When I decided to try to make a movie review video, I knew it would be a struggle, and I had to have a movie I could watch over and over again while I tried to figure all this out. And I've now seen this movie 4 or 5 times, and if my friends showed up and wanted to watch it again, grab a 6-pack, I'm down. Howling 3, warts and teeth and were nipples and all, is an easy 5 out of 5. I'm the ghost of Brian, and I watched a movie. So, Jorge, what was with the hay bales? Manifestations of my... Okay. Is that going to happen a lot?
No way. I'm just gonna die.